We got some good news and some bad news here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We're going to talk about Matt Eberflus's press conference, Caleb Williams' press conference, the injury report. We're all over the map today, so hang with us here on this show. And there's a lot of noise, a lot of distractions, a lot of negativity around the Bears right now. And look, kind of deservedly so after the way they lost in Washington last week. But I know today, Wednesday, middle of the week, I'm just ready for the next game. And if you're with me, if you're ready for Bears versus Cardinals to see how this team is going to respond, hit that like button if you agree. Okay, Matt Eberflus talks. He, of course, has been criticized, under fire by myself, by others, by Bears fans, etc. And he got peppered today. He got peppered by the media when it comes to coaching decisions in Washington, when it comes to Tyrique Stevenson and a lot of other things. And I want to start with the Tyrique stuff because I think that part I'm not as concerned about. He said they had a one-on-one talk on Tuesday, said it was a nice conversation, said he would keep that internal. Don't really have an issue with that. He doesn't need to disclose those details with us when it comes to his talk with Tyrique Stevenson. He also was asked, would he be reprimanded? Would he start this week? Would he be benched? Here's what Flus had to say. I'm not going to talk about Tyrique in terms of starting, not starting, all those things. Tyrique has made a lot of plays for us. He's going to continue to do that. We're behind Tyrique, and we're with him all the way. And look, I don't really blame him on not revealing whether he'll start or not, because there is actually competitive things to consider. If you come out and say we're benching Tyrique Stevenson, well, the Arizona Cardinals then know that. I'm not saying it makes a huge difference in their preparations. Terrell Smith, Tyrique Stevenson, it probably doesn't matter that much, but I don't really have a problem with him not disclosing that information. He's not required to do so, so that's not really an issue. This is kind of where I start to have the issue. Eberflus was asked about, or he didn't even ask, he actually just said this on his own as part of his opening statement. He mentioned all the injury stuff, which we'll get to, and then he said, and when it comes to Washington, the game didn't end the way we wanted it to, and it starts with me. So that's like kind of the bare minimum, right? Of like, it starts with me. So like, check mark, I guess. But one, he didn't do that on Sunday after the game. He didn't say, hey, we lost and I failed. It's on me. He didn't do it on Monday with the media or on ESPN 1000. We talked about that yesterday, how he literally said our defense was set. We didn't need to take a timeout, yet Tyrique Stevenson's back is turned to the play. And today, sure, he said we lost, and we lost in a way we didn't want to, and that starts with me. So I guess kudos, but if you go watch it, and the way he said it, it's like, it's just the bare minimum. And I got to be honest, you know what I thought when he said it and how he didn't offer specifics? Like, how hard is it to say, like, yeah, it starts with me. I could have taken a timeout before the last play. I got to coach the Hail Mary situations better. I could have overrode Shane Waldron on the fullback dive, and I didn't, and that's my fault. He just said it starts with me. Well, everything starts with you. You're the head coach. That's like coach cliche. I'll be honest, it feels like Poles, Warren, the organization, heard all the negativity from people like me, fans, etc. They're on social media. They see all the noise. And they said, Matt, when you go in there Wednesday, because he did this unprompted at the end of his opening spiel after he talked about the injuries, you got to at least go up there and say, hey, I'm the head coach. It starts with me. So, like, it just didn't seem like it came from him. I would have appreciated it more if he specifically was like, yeah, there was plays on X, Y, and Z that we could have at least considered other options, and we didn't do that. And he didn't do that. So, you know, I guess he gets the smallest of check marks for finally being like, yeah, like when we win or lose, like everything starts with me. But like we know that already. Like that's not new information. So that was a little disappointing. It's like you've had 48 hours after you double and triple down on Monday after watching the film. We were set on defense. I like the fullback dive. Like, dude, these are just massive coaching errors. The 13 yards don't matter before the Hail Mary. And you didn't concede any of that today. So I thought that was pretty disappointing. Can Matt Eberflus get this turned around? Can he change the narrative at this point? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Obviously, 10 games left in the season, long way to go, but some of this stuff is hard to shake when it adds up. All right, let's get to the quarterback now, as he spoke with the media today. First time we've heard from him since his post-game remarks on Sunday, which I thought he was impressive on Sunday after a heartbreaking loss like that. Here's what Caleb Williams had to say when asked about the loss and how they lost the Hail Mary. He said, right in that moment, you're angry, but there's a sense of accountability I have to take. I didn't play well in the first half. We had stalled drives. That goes back to throughout the week and during that game, us not finding ways to score, even just get 3 points at times like they did. If we just put points on the board and I do my job to the best of my ability and we find ways to get points, we'll win a lot of games, especially with the defense we have. Our defense had held them to 12 points before the Hail Mary. I've got to do a better job, and our leaders have to do a better job. So he was asked, hey, when you get going late and you put together a couple of drives and take a lead and to lose that way, what's your reaction? And he said, yeah, like obviously it's frustrating, but he immediately points to myself. We didn't get the job done in the first half. I have to play better. That's what you want your franchise quarterback to say, but for him to already get that, for that to click this early on in his career, yet the head coach can't do the same consistently at all. Like, yes, Matt Eberflus did the bare minimum today of saying it starts with me, but like Caleb is getting specific. In the first half, we're not starting fast enough. I'm not playing well enough. That's what I want to hear from leaders on the team, and that starts with the head coach. Speaking of where things start. So I couldn't be more impressed with the quarterback. I couldn't be more disappointed in the head coach with how this has been handled, if I'm being completely honest. And this is multiple things now over his 3 years that he's just mishandled publicly. And your 22-year-old rookie quarterback seems to understand already how you do things. Doesn't mean he's never going to slip up in the future. Doesn't mean he's never going to have some kind of gaffe with the media. But today, handling it like that's how you handle things. That's being a leader in this league. We'll continue the conversation in a moment, but first, got to tell you about our sponsor, Prize Picks. Plenty of time left in the football season, baseball, hockey ongoing as well. And Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports app in North America. You can turn $10 into $1,000, aka 100 times your money entry, with as little as 4 correct picks right now. The way Prize Picks works is simple. You set lineups of 2 to 6 players, as long as it's 2 players on different teams. At least 2 different teams, and pick more or less on the Prize Picks stat projections. Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the action on sports in over 30 states. Hopefully yours is one of them. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today. Over 10 million users and more are getting signed up, and you should be one of them. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. The code CLNS gets you a $50 bonus into your account once you play for $5. So if you want to follow me this week, if you're a new customer, I took the more on Caleb Williams and Kyler Murray rushing yards, $5 to win 15. And again, if you're a new customer, you'll get that $50 bonus into your account regardless if you win or lose. So get started with Prize Picks today. Another new feature with Prize Picks, they now offer Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS. Get the $50 bonus once you play for just $5. Link is in the comments and in the description. All right, coming up, we're going to get into the injury stuff. Injuries are piling up for this team, especially on the offensive line, so stay tuned for that. But I wanted to get to this Caleb Williams quote, too. He said, the better teams I've been on, the players lead. That's what we have here. Okay teams, nobody leads. Good teams, the coaches lead. Great teams, the players lead. And he's saying we're a player-led team. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, no doubt about it. You think about all the great teams, like just recently, right? The Chiefs, they've got Mahomes, Kelsey, Nick Bolton, guys like Chris Jones. Like all these guys are alphas. McDuffie, Snead. They've got dudes that aren't just ballers on the field, but they're leaders. Like the Patriots always had them. Brady, defensive guys, Vince Wilforks of the world. Like there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. However, think about all the champions of our lifetimes, regardless of sport, but especially in the NFL, most of them, I would say like the 2017 Eagles are an exception. I don't know if Doug Peterson's like an exceptional leader. At least I don't get that. Most of them, though, have a high-level leader, right? Andy Reid, no one questions that. Sean McVay, Belichick, even like Bruce Arians with the Bucs, like, and with Bowles running that defense. Like people view those guys as strong leaders. Like Tom Coughlin with the Giants. And it's kind of easy to say, oh, yeah, they won Super Bowls. Of course they're winners. Would we view them that way if they didn't? I guess that's a fair criticism. The Harbaugh brothers. Like these guys, They just speak leadership. I don't get that enough with Flus. And I know players respect him and players come to bat for him and stuff like that. But like, I've asked you guys this all the time, but it's like, do you see him on the sideline in a high leverage game, like, and winning it? Like, I'm talking like an NFC playoff championship game, a Super Bowl, like hell, the divisional round. I don't know. I can't talk myself into that. And so I appreciate Caleb being like, yeah, the great teams I've been on in my life, players lead the way. And yeah, I think Mike Tomlin would tell you on some of his top teams, like, yeah, we had strong player leadership. But does anyone question Tomlin's leadership? No. Like, he is the head of the snake. Like, no one, when you look to him and listen to him talk, you shut the hell up because that is the dude. I'm not saying that's not happening with Matt Eberflus. I'm just saying I don't feel that level of leadership. And I definitely don't see that level of accountability that you would get out of a Tomlin, out of a Pete Carroll, out of an Andy Reid, out of a Harbaugh brother. It's just not the same, and doesn't mean he can't get there, but this was another opportunity to just face the music after that game. I screwed up. I should have taken a timeout. At least Monday morning, once you review things, instead you doubled down and still said, yeah, we didn't need a timeout. The 13-yard out route's irrelevant. How can you say that? You're questioning my football intelligence. And by the way, Dan Quinn, the opposing coach who was a finalist for this Bears job when they hired Matt Eberflus, said, yeah, without that 13-yard out route, we were dead. The Hail Mary was out of range. Like, he said it. Take his word for it. They were going to have to play the lateral game. So, yeah, it's frustrating. And to double and triple down. And sure, today, yeah, it starts with me. But you're not, like, does that mean he's learned that the coaching errors were actually errors? Or is he just saying what he's told to say? Because it feels like it's the latter, if you ask me. All right, subscribe to the channel. We'll get to some injury stuff in a second. Cover the latest news, rumors, my analysis on everything surrounding this team, games, stories throughout the week, etc. Trade deadline less than a week away. That's coming up. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We got you covered. All right, let's get to the injury report, and then we'll get out of here. The Bears only did a walkthrough practice today. Flus said that's because they have so many offensive line injuries. So here is what the injury report looked like today. 5 guys did not practice. Karan Amagaji, calf injury. Flus said it's unlikely he'll be able to play this week. Braxton Jones is week to week with the knee, so if he can't go and Amagaji can't go, clearly you need an answer at left tackle. Montez Sweat didn't practice. Flus said they're hopeful for Sunday, but that's probably a 50-50 type of deal. That's notable if he's out. Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker still did not practice. That's concerning, especially with Brisker and that concussion. We'll talk about him in a second. Tevin Jenkins limited. Hopefully that's a good sign he can go. Ryan Bates limited as well. He and Larry Borum was full. They're on short-term IR. Bates had his practice window open today. Borum had his last week. The O-line's in rough shape. It just is. I think there's a real shot Borum starts at left tackle, and I think that's actually okay. Like, he has started, I think, 22 games in his career. But if both Jones and Amagaji are out, you're pretty thin with your tackle options. You may have to elevate a Jake Curran from the practice squad. You may have to make Matt Pryor flexible to kick out the left tackle if something happens with Pryor during the game. Good chance Nate Davis would have to be active in that scenario as well. So it's rough right now, but you got to find a way to go to Arizona and win. I'm pretty concerned about Brisker. I am. Now, today was a walkthrough, so maybe a DNP designation for him doesn't really matter. But it's been 24 days since he suffered a concussion against Carolina. And this is a guy who has 3 diagnosed concussions in the NFL, and he had at least 1 or 2 in college. I worry, man. I think about the Tua situation. Like, if Tua has another concussion, like, is he done? Brisker flies around, and the way he plays with his physicality, like, he's going to be susceptible. So I hope the best for him. I hope he can come back and play. He provides such an emotional and physical lift to this defense and secondary, but that's not only a concern short-term and long-term for the team, obviously for him as well. I'm keeping an eye on this situation moving forward. But in the end, when it comes to this team and it becomes all the noise, all the distractions, there's no excuse right now. You got to find a way to go beat Arizona. You want the noise to quiet down. You want people like me to stop ripping the head coach. go win on the road against Arizona in another 50-50 type of game. Cardinals have won a couple in a row. I'll praise you if you go win that game. Not because Arizona's even that great of a team, but with everything going on right now, back against the wall, you got to find a way to win, and if you do, trust me, you'll get credit for it. All right, predict the score. Bears, Cardinals in Arizona this Sunday. I haven't yet done a preview because there's been so much chaos with this team going on so far this week. Drop your score predictions down below. I'm going to save my score prediction and my preview for tomorrow. We'll have a morning mailbag episode up on the channel, and then we will be live at 4 o'clock Central, which will include our preview episode. So be sure to lock us in for that and hit that subscribe button. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys tomorrow.